Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So, we got a DLE 222 here, and if you've been watching my other videos, you've heard me talking about this airplane. This is my Robart P-47 Razorback. Same scale as the Corsair, it's 93 inches I believe, so it's sort of based on a Zeroli P-47 size-wise, as is the Corsair. So a little bit of a mess here. But this is the prop I'm hoping to use. This is a 30 by 18. This is a 32 by 18. We'll see. I haven't run this prop. I plan on flying it on the Bearcat. See how it does. See how the motor likes it. Might be too much prop, but we're gonna find out. So we got a nice little stack of Spectrum servos here, and this one unfortunately won't be quite as easy as the Corsair was to convert to the 222. See, I got all my parts scattered everywhere over here. The wings over there. This is a super nice ARF kit, whatever you want to call it. It does take a decent amount of assembly. Nothing too crazy, obviously, but the quality on the composites of this kit are really nice. Inside the wing, I'll show you guys in a little bit, it's just amazing. I mean, the Top RC Corsair wasn't terrible, but it's definitely like a mid-grade composite model. I've definitely seen cheaper, but overall it's not terrible. This is a super nice model. It's got all the detail on the surface, which is super cool. It's got, you know, molded gear doors, and essentially the process for doing the motor is going to be very similar to the Corsair. I'm chopping off the front of it, making my own firewall. The only big issue with the P-47 is the cowling isn't quite wide enough for the motor, so I didn't want to chop this cowling up to make it all work, but for the sake of time and ease, I think I'm going to cut this up and modify it to fit, and then rework it and bodywork it and repaint it, obviously. But rather than make a whole new cowling, I think I'm just going to modify this one. So probably split it right down the center and spread it apart as big as it needs to be. Hold together with some balsa wood, and then we'll do some glass work. It'll be sort of crude, but it'll still look nice. But anyways, it's going to be a little bit of work to make that function. It doesn't need to be that much wider, but it definitely needs to be wider. So the unfortunate part is I got this kit. They don't make these anymore. I got this kit secondhand or third hand actually, and it might be missing a couple of things from the bag of goodies, and I didn't get the right canopy with it. So I was given this canopy, which I assume is a Zeroli P-47 canopy. What should have come with it was a composite fiberglass frame and then a two-piece canopy. So I'm gonna make that work for now. Not much else I can really do other than just make a whole new canopy myself. So I'm gonna see if this one fits. I'm gonna have to cut it up to fit, because I gotta cut the one part to fit in the front here. Anyways, it's gonna be a bit of a hassle. I do have a mostly complete cockpit kit for it, which is pretty nice, and I got some bomb drops, which would definitely be cool to add. But anyways, super nice kit. I got some electric Robart retracts for it. I would have preferred air, honestly, but we're going to give these Robarts a whirl. And there's a real basic light kit that came with it as well, so I'll be putting some basic lights in it, which isn't something I typically do because they're cool, but it's just more effort for kind of minimal gains as far as like cool factor goes, at least on like a Warbird. There's just not very many lights. But anyways, I'm really hoping to be able to run the exhaust out of the scale location. One of my original ideas was to actually see how it's got this nice passageway through the fuselage and it's all composite. I was considering, you see way back there's a little hole in the bottom. So on the real one, the real P-47, this is the turbocharger exhaust exit, and I was considering running 4 headers into one pipe and running essentially a pipe out the back. I thought that would have been really cool and different and unique on a P-47 model. Even though this is an exhaust, these are actually the wastegates for the turbo system. So technically, yes, these do flow exhaust. But while the airplane was flying, most of it was coming out of here. So, or at least a good portion of it. So anyways, if you guys have ever seen videos of that newly restored Razorback Bonnie, the polished one, when they do aerobatic demonstrations with it, they have a smoke system and it comes out of the turbocharger, which is super cool in my opinion. But anyways, I got a couple other changes I might do. Because this is made for like a 100cc, like 85 to 100cc, having that 222 on the nose, it's definitely not going to need it's not going to need nose weight. In fact, they may have to shift weight to the back to help things out. So I was thinking I might actually mount the elevator servos and maybe even the rudder servo in the tail instead of having the long push rods, which I didn't want to do anyways. I don't like those. On a fast warbird, you're just asking to create slop and potential flutter with something like that. So we'll see. You can see it's got the scale exits. So I think having the exhaust out the back actually would have worked, because I would have been able to have, allowed cooling air into the fuselage, and it really wouldn't have gotten the fuselage that hot. That long of an exhaust, I don't think would have been that big of an issue, especially if I would like heat wrapped it or something. But anyways, I don't think we're going to do that, just because headers are really expensive for these motors. They're practically like a third of the cost of the motor. So I could do something custom, but I don't TIG weld, and having something custom made is expensive too. So I think with some basic like copper piping, I can route the mufflered exhaust out of these locations, and that'd be pretty cool, because I would get the mess down the side, and that'd be kind of neat. So anyways, that's where we're at. I've already talked way too long with zero progress. So first step is to chop this off and make a new firewall and get the motor mounted, and everything else will be relatively simple, basic assembly type stuff. I am going to do a mod to the flaps, just like I did on the Corsair. Much like the Corsair, these flaps aren't really hinged right, and they look kind of silly the way they have them come down. So I'm going to hinge them like I did on the Corsair. And even though the real one has Fowler flaps that are on a track and slide back, I won't have that scale of a flap, but it'll look more appropriate than what this kit comes set up with. So anyways, I guess we should get to chopping up this brand new beautiful kit. Some of you think I'm crazy, but I promise it's gonna be sweet. And if you're new to the channel, that's the washer and dryer, constantly going, because we're house of 5 here. So if you don't like that sound, well, I guess don't watch this video. Let me get back to work. Alright guys, so you can see I went ahead and split the cowling and widened it out. I'm using some balsa stuck to it for the moment to kind of hold it in place so I can get an idea of how it fits on the airplane. And chop the front off. And this is the first layer of 1/4 inch birch plywood. Just kind of, it's not glued in yet or anything. Just stuffed in place. I'm going to cut out another one. And so it'll be 1/2 inch thick. And then I'll glass it to the inside of the fuselage once it's bonded in place. So that's no biggie. And then it's just a matter of figuring out the exact location of the motor. And then need to get this glass together so I can more accurately work with that, because right now it's pretty fragile. But anyways, the prop looks pretty good on there. That is scale diameter, it's 30 inches. So anywho, it's not too bad. It's definitely a little bit tighter than the Corsair was, especially in the front cylinders. The back one's not much different. So I think my idea with the scale exhaust is probably going to work out. So that's kind of cool. Be able to run it out the side. But yeah, so it's a little bit wider, but it's nothing crazy. So I think this is about 3/4 of an inch or 5/8 of an inch on the front, and similar at the back. So I might go a touch wider in the front and a little bit narrower in the back, because right now it's tapered a little bit. But I'm just kind of playing with it. So it's the beauty of just kind of tacking it together with this balsa wood. You can just bust it off and put a new piece on. So anyways, playing with that, and I guess we'll stop there for this first video. This is more of an introductory video, and then we'll get some more footage in the next few days, hopefully, of the build process, and let you guys know how it goes. Anyways, I hope you guys liked it, and we'll see you in the next one.